Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Come and join us by hitting that like, subscribe, and notification bell. I'm going to say that every time, so just get ready, all right? If you just hit the like button right now, good people. We got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to talk about some moves that I'm making. We've really killed it in the area of quantum computing, but I'm going to do some selling. I've already done some selling, should I say, and I'll cover that in a minute, and I'm going to explain why, all right? Because we're not getting too greedy. Let's talk about it. All right, the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow are all up. We could see the NASDAQ is 36 points. We'll call that flat because it was just flat. We could see that the day was a roller coaster of a day. We had PPI comes out, inflation data, and then there was a downtrend. Someone made the comment, and they were right. Good inflation, good CPI, market goes down. Good PPI, market comes up, goes down, right? And it's just like everything that's supposed to be good news, right? China and U.S. sit down and, have a framework for an agreement. Market goes up, goes down, and it just keeps going down, right? So we need to know why. I'm just going to tell you, like I told you at the end, sorry for the glasses. I told you yesterday that we've had a recovery already. We've had if you really look at it, we had a recovery already. Not everything that I wanted, but we've had a recovery already. And the market, when it is in an uptrend, listen, you got to zoom out. Sometimes we expect it always to be a straight line up, and sometimes there is some boom in between. Now, You've heard of the term selling may and go away. Well, we're in June now, right? And the end of June, the second half of June is generally not as good as the first half. And so I'm taking some things off the table. How about you? Right. So right now, the president is just wrapped up. He had a live bill signing ceremony. And you guys could check that out. We're not going to go into that. It was a lot of talking, and he was in he was in all his glory, all right? So before I play this video from the president, let's look at what happened this morning with PPI, Producers Price Index.
Hey, Rick, take it away.
Yes, Becky, these are wholesale inflation numbers in the form of the Producer Price Index for the month of May. Up 0.1% on headline. That is very much 1/10 less than expectations. But do remember, in the rearview mirror, we had the trifecta of negative numbers. We had minus 0.5% last month. That was a very big number, the worst since COVID, or I should say the biggest drop. It isn't necessarily bad to see inflation going away. If you strip out the all-important food and energy, it remains up 1/10. As I said before, these are much cooler numbers. We're expecting up 0.3. Now, this follows a big down number, as I said, down 0.4 on ex-food and energy. That was the biggest going back to February of 15. It equaled down 0.4. We've never had a bigger number, but then again, this series was modified. It only goes back to 2010. Let's take out food, energy, and trade. Once again, it's up 1/10, and once again, that's a couple tenths lighter than expectations. Last month's minus 1/10 was indeed one of those big numbers. The only other negative number we had was COVID-related, down 0.4. Now, if we look at the year-over-year numbers, and these are important, this is where the stickiness comes in. Year-over-year headline, up 2.6. As expected, but 0.2 warmer than the rearview mirror. 2.4 was in the rearview mirror. 3.4 was March. That's what we're comping to. Take out food and energy, 3%, 1/10 less than expectations, 1/10 less than last month, which was 3.1. Where does it comp to? Comps to August of last year when we were at 2.8. So in a way, been there, done that. That's the stickiness I talked about. And finally, if we look at ex-food, energy, and trade, that's 2.7. 0.3 less than we were expecting, and some progress here. 2.9 was our last look. 2.7 would equal Jan of 24 to find a lower number. You're back to Thanksgiving of 23.
So there's a lot of talk about the Fed and should the Fed lower interest rates. Okay. We had PPI cooling and the data was better than expected. We had we had CPI first and now we just had PPI showing that inflation is in fact cooling, good people. It is. Now, the question is should the Fed lower interest rates? Now, we're going to hear what the president thinks about that. I think politics aside, I don't get caught up in these who said what. I look at the facts, and the facts state that inflation is cooling a lot quicker than we projected it to, or should I say they, right? And on that, and based on that solely, then I see that the Fed does have room to lower interest rates, like I said before. Now, the Fed will be speaking and having this meeting next week. We'll see what he's going to do. But he's hinted that he's not in a hurry. All right. So let's listen to what our president, get ready, had to say about the Fed and his slowfulness.
But if we cut our interest by 1 point, for years, we save $300 billion. If we cut it by 2 points, we save, because it's pretty equivalent. We're going to spend $600 billion a year, $600 billion, because of one numbskull that sits here. I don't see enough reason to cut the rates now. And the problem he's got is that, and I explained to him, look, if inflation went up, cut your rates now. There's no inflation. We got it down. We got prices down. We got gasoline down. And you'll keep it going down. And but gasoline's down. We drill, it's drill, baby, drill. That's why it's going down. But we're all that. But think of it. I said to him, he was in my office a couple of days ago. I said, if you think there's inflation, let's find out. Because I think we're going to keep it down. I think gasoline's going to be so far down. Oil, energy, it's so much energy. We have so much energy, we don't know what to do with it. But let's say there was inflation in a year from now. Raise your rates. I don't mind. Raise your rates. I'm all for it. I'll be calling you. He'll be too late for that too. But raise your rates. You don't have to keep them up here. If it's going to go up, I'm okay with you raising, but it's down.
So I agree. Now, he called him a numbskull. If somebody called him a numbskull, he'd have a fit. Trump calls Fed Chair Powell numbskull as he urges interest rate cuts. Now, but believe it or not, get ready, good people. I agree with the president. And not by the amount, because he can't do that. Now, in the past, when the president was just saying, just lower the rates, he's been saying that for a while now. In the past, he was wrong. The president was wrong, and he knew the Fed couldn't do it. Now that we have data, like the Fed kept saying, data dependent, we have the data now, Mr. Fed. And now it is time to start lowering interest rates. Now, or just start by going a full percent. No, he's not going to do that. Let's not kid ourselves. He's not going to do that. He at most it'll be 50 basis points, but he'll start with 25 basis points and then carry that Fed meeting after Fed meeting. Okay, tell me what you think respectfully. Tell me if you think he should lower interest rates or just hold. Right? I just want to take a poll. Should he lower or just hold? Now let's talk about some high risk, high reward stock that I've been talking about for many months now that we have made a killing on. Okay. Because I'm going to let you guys know, like I let everyone in Money Moves know actually last night. All right. So let's look at Rigetti, D-Wade. All right. Quantum, QUBT, QBTS. You guys know all of the names. In Oklo is what they're calling it. They're down. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is the warrants. Not all of them have warrants, but the ones that had warrants that we've been holding, I'm going to show you my portfolio here in a minute. I sold the warrants this morning because I just think that we could have a pullback. Now they could continue to run, but at some point you gotta take some profits, okay? And the warrants pump up really high, really quick, and then they drop really low, really quick. Why did you sell the warrants, Larry? Because if I'm selling the warrants, okay, I'm using, and I'm in great profit, I'm using that money to actually pay for the stock. Follow? So if the stock come back down, I've lost nothing. All right. And so look at this. We can see that these are down. But good people, if you go to the last 6 months, these have performed well, ridiculous gains. Okay. And if I've helped you to make money in any of these, put in the comments me, thank you, or me. Okay. And we've made a ton of money. Somebody's going to come back and say, yeah, look at them. They're down now. When they finally go down, we done made our money. We got the money in the bank and we gone on. All right. I want y'all to defend your boy. OK. All right. So look at this. But good people, look at these in the last year. Absolutely insane. Insane. And I made the difficult decision to hold these and even buy more after Jensen Huang's, the CEO of NVIDIA's, comment about this being 12 years out, which he was wrong. And Wall Street doesn't always have it right. Wall Street misses it. And Wall Street, first of all, is usually late to the party. And so we could see this. Now, here's to the couple of the warrants that I sold this morning. Why did I sell the warrants? Look at this over the 6 months. That's why I sold the warrants. Okay. All right. Look at this over the year. D-Wave warrants are up 9,000%. Okay. And for those of you that have stock up, you understand the warrants. Okay. We've made a ton of money with these warrants. And we've made the money and now I'm getting out. All right. Now I may get back into warrants at some point. I will let Money Moves, people in Money Moves know first, of course. And then I may come and I will eventually let you guys know. But I got to see what is what at that time and period. All right, good people. So I just want to talk about hogs make money. I'm sorry. Bulls make money. Bears make money. Hogs get slaughtered. I don't care if this 10X is tomorrow. I've made money. And I want you to know that sometimes it's just good to take profit and don't be greedy. Most of you don't have a problem with taking too much profits. I would say 99% of us have a problem with just the fear of missing out and trying to get to the top. All right. So there was some more stuff I wanted to show you with crypto. And we'll just go into that later. As you can see, Bitcoin is cooling off now a little bit, and I'm still buying, right? I'm still buying. Someone said, well, Larry, why are you still buying if you think the market may cool off? Because if I was buying at a higher with Bitcoin, if I was buying it at 110, which I was dollar cost averaging, then why would I stop at 107? And that's just me. I'm just dollar cost averaging in a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is not like any other crypto that I'm in. 80% of my crypto money is in Bitcoin, and I'm doing well with there. All right. So you guys know sound AI is really heavily linked to AI. As you can see how many shares I got there, up 11%. Not bad. All right. Not bad. But, look at the Rigetti warrants. I'm up 29%. So I sold those this morning, but I'm going to add it to the Rigetti that I have. Remember, I swung some of these already and made a ton of money. Okay. And so let's go down to QUBT. We could see that I'm up 57%. And then I had a gang of money with the warrants underneath. All right. So you had QBTS, which are the warrants to QBTS. So QBTSW are the warrants to QBTS. QBTS, hindsight is 2020, 61%. And then the warrants I sold those. Look at underneath OKLO, all right? That's 102%. Then I have IBIT that I'm going to add, as it drops down. I'm going to buy a few on red days. Good people, this is in a Roth IRA. And then a Granny Fund Strat, I am going to be adding to that position up 18%. This is something that I'm not going to worry about and continue the dollar cost average down in. Again, this is in a Roth, all right? And then this is a new one that I picked up, but it's not performing well. Sold it also. You could see it, all right? There it is. ARQQW. These are some warrants. Of course, they may pop. As you can see, I didn't have a lot of money in that. But what I want you to see is this at the bottom. All right, good people. Now, I put a total of $30,000 into this account. I did 2 years of $7,000. And because of my age, I put another 2 years of $8,000. So $7,000, $7,000, $8,000, and $8,000. And truth be told, a long time I had it sitting in cash. I would tell you 95% of these moves were made this year, and the most of it was made since Liberation Day. Now, QUBT, you guys remember that raised this portfolio up. It was up 1,500%, guys. Remember that? So now I have a ton of cash, and you see where it says activity pending, that's actually 10. So now it's actually up $100,000, right? And so why did you go through that, Larry? Sorry if I was because I was trying to see, guys. This is so small. It's so small because a lot of us just trade like we're 98 years old, right? And I had a lot of high risk plays in here, right? And that was fine because I'm cashing those out slowly. Now, my quantum computing, I'm going to keep because I'm going to pay for them. I've already paid for them with the warrants, follow? And so now I'm going to go into some of the ETFs, right? And I'm going to make 50% of this is in the safe ETF stuff. And then I'm going to look for more opportunities to further cash up this Roth IRA account. Follow? And so that's what my strategy is. I know this one is long and I had a lot to talk about. All right, there we go. That's what I want you to do. I want you to join me at Money Moves. Okay, it's the top link below. And if you just want to learn about the overall stock market, you want to learn about warrants, you want to learn about crypto, that's going to be Stock Up You with a major update coming late summer, early fall. All right, good people. We'll see you later. Live, love, laugh, and learn. A new class dropping tonight in Money Moves, dealing with options for dummies. Come and learn and earn with us.